My name is Snehal Tripathi, and I welcome all of you to the fourth Design by Design annual award ceremony here tonight at the ML Bharati Auditorium at Alliance Française de Delhi. Many of us have been associated with Design by Design for a long time now. But for those of us who are new to the platform, a word about Design by Design and the Design by Design Annual Award. Design by Design is an interdisciplinary initiative to explore the design phenomenon from the broadest perspective. It is also geared towards raising levels of appreciation within each discipline and nurturing connections across various design domains. The annual Design by Design Award is instituted to honor the contributions made by discerning supporters, directly or indirectly towards the promotion and propagation of design and the cause of extended ecosystem of the design-based communities. Past year's awardees have been Mr. O.P. Jain, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and founder-president of Sanskriti Pratishthan, Mr. Ashok Chatterjee, ex-director of NID Ahmedabad and chairman of the Crafts Council of India, Mrs. Sheila Patel, social activist in urban poverty and housing, and founder-director of Spark. May I now invite Monsieur Stéphane Amalir, director of Alliance Française, to welcome the awardee and the gathering.
Thank you very much. Mesdames, Mesdemoiselles, Messieurs, bonsoir, pardon. Bienvenue à l'Alliance Française. I've decided to say a few words in French to welcome you because the French president was until yesterday the guest of honor of the Republic Day, and I think that it goes well with the friendship between France and India, and so we couldn't hope for a better augur. I'm happy and honored to say a few words on the occasion of the 40th Design by Design exhibition this year. This new edition, organized by the team Design by Design in joint collaboration with Alliance Française de Delhi, where we are, Audacity, Studio AF, and many others, is again going to showcase some of the most promising designers, or should I say artists, in their respective field from all around India. But before officially opening the exhibition itself, where we'll do it outside in less than 1 hour, we are honored to have with us Mr. Pradip Krishen, who has been selected to receive the 4th Annual Design by Design Award. This award has been created with the idea to broaden and deepen the engagement between the community of designers and the civil society. To do so, this annual award has been instituted to honor the contribution made by discerning supporters, directly or indirectly, towards the promotion and propagation of design. I will leave Mr. Chishti to describe the work done by Mr. Krishen during his long career in the field of ecological restoration as a native plant gardener, inspiring naturalist, nature educator, and author through his exemplary work. Thank you very much to all of you, et merci encore d'être ici présent.
Thank you. Mr. Pradip Krishen, an eco-restoration practitioner, author, and filmmaker, is the recipient of this year's D by D Award. Here is a presentation on his work and contributions.
When I first went to the desert, I heard the Magnias and totally fell in love with their music. I didn't know that I would keep coming back, first for the music, and then much later to try and restore the degraded desert habitats. In 1980, won a script award for Masi Saab, and the NFDC stepped in to say that they would produce the film.
The architect is a professional, and the money-making institution has no commitment to community space in an urban area. His primary commitment is to his building. And his building is usually a means for those who already have money to make more money. This is not architecture, it's construction.
I chased down every last individual tree that I found in the city of Delhi and on the outskirts. It was a chance encounter that led me to Jodhpur, where the trust that manages the great Mehrangarh fort asked me if I would green this large rocky area around the fort. And that's really where the true journey of ecological restoration for me began. I started working in Kishanbagh in 2016 in a series of marooned dunes in northern Jaipur city. It was very different from anything I'd done before because here it was sandy, totally unlike a rocky habitat. We collected seed-bearing sand from the desert and brought it to Kishanbagh and watched as the landscape came alive with shrubs and grasses that germinated in the very minerals and soil that they were used to.
Ecology is not just about big landscapes, you can have a microcosm, you can have a microhabitat in the floral head of a grass that actually houses spiders and predators and prey and other things,
The genius of the plan lies in its bloody simplicity. What I'm proposing is that the government plants fruit trees on either side of the railway track. Fine? All over India. Generally, then craps around the railway track anyway, right? So the soil is very fertile, है ना? Yeah? So all you have to do is on every passenger train, na, you attach a water carriage with two fountains that spray water on either side. What do you get? 120,000 running kilometers of fruit trees, man. It's a freaked out trip. I mean, how come nobody thought of it before?
That was inspiring indeed. May we now have all 20 participants of the Design by Design exhibition on the stage to present the award, please. One of the core objectives of Design by Design is to foster a relationship between prominent practitioners and young designers. Keeping up with this tradition and to symbolize it, a cohort of participating designers shall hand over the award to this year's recipient. May I now request Mr. Jawahar Sarin, President AFD, to kindly invite and accompany Mr. Pradip Krishen to the stage, along with the Director of AFD, Domain Partner from Incubis Consultants, and the Convener of Design by Design. May I request you all to please take your place on the dais. I would now like to invite the convener of Design by Design, Iftikhar-mulk Chishti, to read the award citation. Yes.
The fourth Annual Design by Design Award 2024 to honor the enablers of design. The Annual Design by Design Award has been instituted to honor the contribution made by discerning supporters, directly or indirectly, towards the promotion and propagation of design and the extended cause of the design-based creative communities, with the idea to broaden and deepen the engagement between communities of designers and civil society. The contribution made by Mr. Pradip Krishen, I'm sorry, Pradip. I'm sorry, that was a little. So the contribution made by Mr. Pradip Krishen, the awardee of the year, puts us in touch with our deep connection with nature and its innate self-healing and regenerative purpose. Design by Design recognizes and celebrates his contribution to the field of ecological restoration. His pioneering work as a self-taught botanist, naturalist, and restoration practitioner is well known. His efforts towards the cause of creating native plant gardens in degraded lands in Delhi, Western Rajasthan, and Garhwal are widely recognized. He spent time extensively exploring the subtropical jungles of Pachmari in the Satpura hills of Madhya Pradesh and the green habitat of the semi-wild fringes of Delhi. Studying, identifying, photographing, and documenting trees. He trained himself to become a keen ecological gardener, inspiring and leading teams of horticulturists and landscape architects in restoring vast and varied physiographical settings. Many of his restored tracts of land have become public parks, equipped with attendant public facilities such as visitor centers, making interpretation of the natural habitat accessible to all, a major feature of most of his projects. His current assignments, besides the gardens of Calico Museum in Ahmedabad, include creating a wildflower meadow for the senior school in Bavalia and restoring the natural ecology of the clay banks of the river Chambal. The award is being given to Mr. Pradip Krishen for his exceptional journey that was inspired by an accidental revelation of nature's regenerative rhythm, leading to his lifelong mission of the discovery of flora and the transformation of natural landscapes. The creation of significant rewilding schemes at sites such as the Rao Jodha Park in Jodhpur, Kishan Bagh in Jaipur, and Aba Mahal in Nagaur Fort, Rajasthan, are the outcome of this wild voyage. This impacted people who benefited from his not by design action on the ground directly, earning him acceptance and appreciation, and setting an example for lay people and professional designers alike. An author of 3 critically acclaimed books, Trees of Delhi, General Trees of Central India, the Aba Mahal Bagh, he is presently working on a journal-style book, Ratpati, about Delhi's degraded central ridge forest. In his earlier avatar, he had the opportunity of making independent feature films, including Masi Sahab and Electric Moment. It was, however, in which Annie gives it those ones that won 2 national awards, eventually relinquished, that attained a classic cult status. This mixed language film is noteworthy for having unwittingly served the cause of tree plantation and the design world by capturing the vulnerability, irreverence, and idealism in the lives of design students at a School of Architecture in Delhi. Rather evocative, using humor to serve as a poignant reminder of life's unpredictabilities. Prior to his film stint, he taught at Ramdas College, Delhi University, and attended the Royal College, Oxford, St. Stephen's College, Delhi, and Mayo College, Ajmer. Design by Design, in partnership with Alliance Française de Delhi and Incubis consultants, is proud to present the 4th Design by Design Award 2024 to Mr. Pradip Krishen.
On behalf of the participating designers, May I request Hitat Majitia and Arohi Agarwal to present the award to Mr. Pradip Krishen. I request Hitat to present the medal. I request Arohi to present the scroll. May I now request Mr. Pradip Krishen to give his acceptance speech, accompanied by a presentation. I request everyone else to return to their seats, please.
Thank you so much, Professor Chishti, for those very generous words, sometimes a little too generous. But it's really a great pleasure to have an award given for a field that is very seldom recognized for the artistry that actually goes into it. I believe this is probably the first time in this country, at least, that we've had a design award for ecological restoration. And I'd like to accept this award on behalf of the entire community of people who, like me, work in the field of ecological restoration. We're a very small tribe with probably about 120, 130 people. And if you look at it very strictly with people who only plant with native plants, it's probably down to 30 or 40 people. It's a small cohort. It's a very dedicated cohort. It's a very remarkable set of people, in fact. I would go so far as to say that in my experience over the last 10 or 12 years in particular, I'm talking about a cohort of people who are immensely sensitive, brilliantly dedicated to the task that they're doing. They're secular, they're right-thinking, they're democratic. They're really a wonderful bunch of people. And I don't know of another cohort that actually has the credentials that it has. And it's not just the people who practice ecological restoration. There's a whole lot of people who support them. There are graphic designers, there are artists, there are a whole lot of other people who are also involved in the kind of restoration projects that I've been involved with. So to all of them, just a very big thank you. Ecological restoration is not the most important thing in the world. Democracy is. But can you imagine a democracy that had ruined forests, polluted rivers, air like we have in Delhi? We have a very, very long and a very difficult journey to perform as people who care for the environment, who care for nature. And we are really only just nibbling at the periphery of things that need to be done for the environment, because we don't own the land, we don't control the land, we don't have access to the land, which is all in the hands basically of the Forest Department of India, or the various state forest departments of India. But nevertheless, I do feel it's a really, really important facet of what we need to do over the coming years. And with these words, I just want to say thank you. I have a short PPT that I want to show you. I had planned to do a longer PPT about the wonderful grasses that you get in the desert, in the Thar desert. But that PPT was going to be about an hour long. It was called High on Grass, and I hoped I was looking to embarrass a few people, perhaps the director of the Alliance, by saying I want to do a PPT on which is High on Grass. But I'm not going to do that now. So I have a very short 15 minutes available to me. And if I can, all right. It's really just a few pictures of the desert and how the desert is really a very varied and a very beautiful place. Why am I not getting? Okay, so just a quick 22 slides, and I'm going to take you through some of the most beautiful aspects just of the landscape of the desert, but also to give you a sense of how varied it is. All of us perhaps think of the desert as being a little bit like the North African Sahara with sand dunes. That picture on the bottom right is a satellite picture of all these dunes all aligned in the same direction with the wind. And these are the kind of what are called barkans, which is a particular kind of dune that you get in some parts of Rajasthan. But this is by no means all that you see in the desert. This is a picture of what is probably my favorite plant in the furthest stretches of the Thar Desert. Something that is known as pogue locally. It's a climax, part of the climax vegetation. It's disappearing. It's only now found in the far reaches of the western border with Pakistan. It's an amazing plant. And some of the images you've seen earlier when we were filing in showed you some of these lovely pogue landscapes. One of the most interesting things that happened to me exploring the desert was to discover the word roi, which is the local Marwari name for the shrublands that you get in the desert. And I was very keen when we were doing Kishanbagh to try and introduce the term roi into the vocabulary that people use when they talk about the desert, because the desert is often dismissed, and especially by the forest department, as a wasteland, as a place that, as a failed forest. It's never meant to be a forest at all. And the Roi shrubland now takes its place along with some of the best shrublands and the most visited and most loved shrublands, like the Mulga region of Western Australia, or the chaparral in California, or the garrigue in the Mediterranean. And I'm hoping that we will begin to appreciate the desert more and more as words like the Roi find their way into the vocabulary we use. These are obstruction dunes, basically places where the passage of a dune as it moves is obstructed by a high hill. And this is where you actually get two different kinds of plant habitats. One is the sandy habitats, where plants are actually able to send roots deep into the sand. And then you get the rocky habitats, where plants can't do that. And therefore you get two very different kinds of habitats. But the ephedra that you see on the right is the last gymnosperm left in the desert, which is a remnant of a time when the desert was much wetter and much cooler, and one of the most staggeringly beautiful plants that we have in the desert. This is the obstruction dune that we started working on when we were working in Kishanbagh. And you can see what a devastated place it was. Essentially carved out by water flowing down from the Nahargarh hills. And the picture on the bottom right was what these dunes are looking like now. Then you get the iron-rich soils. There's a lot of iron in the desert. And there's some controversy about how the iron actually got there, but I won't go there. But the iron, you can see the nuggets, you can see the embedded iron in these nuggets that you see on the right. But it leads to some of these beautiful ironstone habitats that you get, which are all Jurassic, about 190 million years old. And then you get these beautiful rocks in some parts of the desert, which is roughly 50, 60, 70 kilometers west of Jaisalmer city. But it forms beautiful habitats, also fossil bearing. Then, of course, there is sandstone, which is not a surprising thing to find in the desert. These pictures just show you how, when you look really closely at sandstone, you can actually see the little grains of sand and how they get cemented together. But the sandstone is formed essentially on shallow beaches that were formed on in the desert. These are the sandstone mines that you find at Sursagar near Jodhpur. That picture that you see of the man wielding that hammer on a very long shaft was how they used to split the sandstone about 15 years ago. That's all stopped now, but it was an amazing sight to see how this guy was able to hit those pegs with unerring aim, even though he's using a 6-foot long shaft on his hammer. But now they're using some noxious Chinese chemical, and those white lines that you see at the bottom is what they drill these holes and put the chemicals inside, and that splits the rock. It's rather sad to see that this is how they're doing it. But one reason why the sandstone mines are so important and so interesting to me is to find these ripples that you see on this large slab of stone at the bottom. So when I was working with my friend Golak, the architect, and creating the visitor center in Jodhpur, this is what we discovered by accident. And then we decided that we wanted to use these ripples. These are naturally formed ripples, which basically form when you have an episode of burial of a beach. And then when the beach hardens and becomes sandstone, the top of the episode has ripples, which basically mirror what's happening to the water slightly above it. And we thought we'd use these ripples as part of the walkways that lead into the visitor center. And we've had a wonderful time just having, playing with these ripples in the desert. But the other reason why sandstone is so important is that you get lots and lots of colors, you get lots and lots of textures. This is an installation that we created in Kishenbagh just to show you some of the beautiful sandstones that you get that were formed over 1.1 billion years on the seacoast of Rajasthan. And the other reason why these sandstone mines are so important was that these are images of the first multicellular creatures that lived on Earth. These are not images of the creatures themselves, but of the traces that they left behind as they moved in the clayey bottoms of the sea at that time. Then you get quartzite. Quartzite is something that people who are familiar with the ridge here know very well. But quartzite basically is sandstone that has been compressed by metamorphosis, and by the heat and the pressure convert the sandstone into a crystalline, a very beautiful rock called quartzite. And you find quartzite all over the desert. And you will sometimes even find the ripples which were there originally in the sandstone have been preserved even as the quartzite has melted and reformed. And then you've got the calcium-rich habitats in the desert. Calcrete is one of the forms in which the calcium forms. But essentially, these are all results of the calcium in the ocean, the calcium that's present in sea creatures with shells. And this is very, very common in the desert. Calcium is one of the dominant landscape types throughout the Thar Desert. Some more images of the calcrete. And the limestone, which is also, of course, calcium. The golden fort of Jaisalmer is often referred to as the golden sandstone fort. It's not sandstone at all. It is limestone, and it's full of fossils. It's full of fossils of creatures that died there in Jurassic times and later. This is a picture also of some of these calcium-rich places, but they're filled with tiny little marine creatures that are called forams for short, foraminifera in its long form. But these are single-celled creatures that cover themselves with a hard calcium, what's known as a test. And there are so many different species of forams. Scientists use them to be able to date marine formations. And this is Professor Sani and my friend Pranay Lal actually examining one of these foram columns to look at what particular forams there are. These are the beautiful clay formations that you find in the desert. This picture on the left, which looks like a man with 4 knees on a little grassy bank. These are all remnants essentially of lagoons that once existed in a shallow shoreline in the desert. But you get absolutely beautiful clay formations. And these are further clay formations where you get China clay that is mined and sold for its purity, with some of these absolutely gorgeous textures that you get in the desert. And rhyolite is a volcanic rock that you see in these lovely columnar formations. All the work we've done in Rajodha Park in Jodhpur has taken place in this kind of habitat. You get a lot of rhyolite throughout the desert. Rhyolite basically forms the base to sandstone that form on top of it. So wherever sandstone has been eroded, it uncovers rhyolite. You get these beautiful formations. This is a photograph showing you the Rajodha Park in a rhyolite formation, and an old poster of a tourism poster for Jodhpur that actually inadvertently perhaps, talks about or shows the rhyolite as being a very sort of prominent feature of Jodhpur. And some people have even sort of speculated that the builders of the fort or the designers of the fort actually saw the rhyolite formations and were inspired to make some of the features of the fort after that particular feature. And this last photograph I'm showing you is just a picture of the Rajodha Park after we finished restoring it and bringing back the native vegetation. I'm going to end there and say thank you once again to Design by Design for this award that I will cherish. And can I just say once more that really it's for the entire community of eco-restoration people, many of whom are here, but many of whom are not as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for those inspiring words and the insightful presentation. I now invite Mrs. Monika Khanna Gulati from Incubis Consultants to present the vote of thanks.
It is such a delight to see a packed hall here to see Pradip and his work and witness this amazing day when some wonderful work is being recognized. And I think it is such an honor to be a part of it. Thank you, Stéphane. Thank you, Professor Chishti, for bringing this back year after year, this event. And the annual coming together of all the design community, all the young people, motivative spirits, and of course, change makers like Pradip and the whole community that he has been talking about. Special thanks to Pooja Taneja, who's, I don't know if she's here, and Rajiv Mahajan from Lakshman Das for sponsoring part of this event. Looking at Pradip's presentation, it came to my mind that there is so much that we know about the stars in the cosmos and how they move and how they present themselves. And there is so little that we know about the soil. And thank you, Pradip, for bringing our attention to the ground and just showing the enormous possibilities that there are, even in the most frightening looking landscapes. Frightening because maybe we don't know enough about them. And Pradip, I think, continues to be a professor. He's moved from history to professor of landscape. So thank you for being such a generous professor. He's been teaching from his books, his blogs. You just have to do a little Google search on whatever you want to know about eco-restoration, and there is so much material. You can actually become you can do a beginner's course sitting at home. So learning from Pradip a few things that I think which we would take away as designers is the ability to question. Why is this here? Why is this not here? Why is this working? Why is this not working? So I'm addressing this to the young designers who are here on the podium just for a few minutes a while ago. is the ability to question, to observe, to be excited about the little things that are around us, to have the bravado to take on a challenge and say, okay, let's try and do it, and collaborate with people so that you can take on big things. Specifically for that which is beautiful, sustainable, and nurturing, and do the right things always. We should consider ourselves fortunate, especially in city like ours. We have a whole bouquet of challenges to choose from, you know. You just have to step out and oh, there are 10 things which are not working right. So you can actually pick and choose the challenges you want to work on. So go ahead and pick up your challenge and make the change and do something which is inspiring to the next lot of 25 under 30 and the many more who come year after year. And we hope that one day we see you on the stage receiving this award as somebody who has made an who has been an important influence in the way things are done and design is interpreted. Our wish for you, Pradip, is that may this be just the start of the many awards and recognition that may come your way for the astounding work that you have gifted us as a nation. I think a big round to Pradip for. We have to recognize that this work has enormous impact, not just on the city that it is in, for the number of people who are learning, visiting, learning about Roi. I mean, look at us. I've never been there, but I know now Roi by heart. So if I go there, I shall know it. Thank you, Pradip, for showing the way so generously right through your working career and for being such a role model and inspiration.
Thank you. That brings us to the end of this evening's award ceremony. We shall now proceed with the opening ceremony of the Design by Design 20 under 35 exhibition, which is about to take place at the forecourt right outside the auditorium. I invite everyone to be a part of it. Thank you.